and companies is also affected. Our Tema regional correspondent Michael Dewano is at the ECG office in Tema to find out why power theft is getting worse in the metropolis and what steps are being taken to stop this menace.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon to you. So your call. I'm coming to you live from the Tema regional headquarters of the electricity epidemic in this particular region, and it's a source of worry to authorities here. And they've been telling me impacting on their business operations. And so we are fortunately to be joined by the public relations officer for the electricity company and what they are doing.
Well, we're having a bit of difficulty connecting to Michael, but then we'll try and bring Michael back to tell us more. But moving on, Ghana is on a journey to digitization. Maximum effort is being put into building a new system to drive this transformation agenda through digitization. At the podium at Ashesi University at Brikusu in the Eastern region to tell Ghana's story on transforming an economy through digitization, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia said the soft building blocks have been laid through the various digitization infrastructures to promote efficiency, effectiveness, reduce corruption, broaden the tax base, among others, to transform Ghana's economy.
Transformation agenda, and the government is on a drive to build the soft infrastructure to address and transform the informal nature of the Ghanaian. It has introduced a number of policies by leveraging on the existing technologies to achieve this goal. These include the paperless port, mobile money interoperability, issuing of national biometric ID cards, Ghana Post Addressing System, Ghana.gov platform, digitization of drivers and vehicle licensing authority, the National Health Insurance Scheme, online passport application, the GHQR code, among others. These, says the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, is what will make Ghana a competitive global player.
The new system is the engine block of our development. We are building this new system because it has the following attributes. It positions us to be globally competitive in the emerging digital revolution. It is a system based on integrated centralized data, and it's a system that codifies the unique identification of every member of our society, the addresses of all properties and locations. It is inclusive. It's a system that makes for greater transparency, promotes accountability and efficiency in every aspect of public interaction. It is a system that minimizes incentives to pay bribes and opportunities for corruption in the delivery of public services. It is a system where the operations of government institutions are digitized for efficient delivery. It is a system that is formalizing the informal sector, a system that has broadened the tax base, a system which enables the workings of an effective credit reference bureau, and a system which facilitates equitable access by all Ghanaians to healthcare and education.
The current global economy is ruled by digitization, and Ghana cannot afford to lose out.
The digital revolution is a youth-driven revolution. It is your revolution. And I look forward to all of you playing a role in making our nation great and strong.
The National Identification Card, the Ghana card, will from 2022 be recognized as one of the e-passports across the world. This was part of Ghana's story on transforming the economy through digitization. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said, when this is done, it can be read and verified at all international civil aviation organization compliant borders in 197 countries and 44,000 airports around the world. He says this means holders of the Ghana card will be allowed to board any flight to Ghana with the card.
By the end of the first quarter next year, the Ghana card will be recognized globally as an e-passport and can be read and verified in all ICAO compliant borders. That is 197 countries, 44,000 airports in the world. When this happens, holders of the Ghana card will be allowed to board any flight to Ghana. Furthermore, the good news for diasporan Ghanaians is that when the Ghana Immigration Service is linked to the NIA architecture, and that will be soon, diasporan Ghanaians who hold the Ghana card should not have to obtain visas to return to Ghana.
Meanwhile, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says Ghana will soon introduce a national e-pharmacy for a wide variety of quality medicines. It says the Pharmacy Council, in collaboration with the private sector, has completed work on a digital platform for all pharmacies in Ghana, and a pilot of 45 pharmacies is currently ongoing. And when this is rolled out on a national scale, it will eliminate the problem of fake drugs, make drugs accessible to patients, and offer consumers a competitive pricing regime.
We have completed work on a digital platform for all pharmacies in Ghana. And currently the pilot of 45 pharmacies is taking place. And basically the e-pharmacy platform will offer the opportunity for everyone through a mobile phone to upload your prescriptions and find out which pharmacies near you have the medicines. Secondly, you can compare the prices of the same drug offered by different pharmacies. You can sit in your home, choose the pharmacy you want to buy the drug from, order it, pay for it, and it will be delivered in your home without you visiting the pharmacy. The e-pharmacy will also help us address the problem of drug abuse. Those who are prescribed the medicines, controlled medicines like tramadol, for example, will no longer receive a paper prescription. They will be sent a one-time code via SMS, and once the prescription is uploaded, and it will be used only once at the pharmacies. Thankfully, the e-pharmacy will be launched before the end of this year, and this will make Ghana, I'm so proud of this, this will make Ghana the first country in sub-Saharan Africa to have a national scale e-pharmacy, and only one of the few countries in the world with a national scale e-pharmacy.
Well, let's now cross over to Tema, and our correspondent Michael Dowenu is standing by to tell us or give us a report on why power theft is getting worse in the metropolis. He will speak to some ECG officials who will also tell us steps that are being taken to stop this menace. Yeah, Michael, can you give us your report?
All right, thank you, Soyoko. And like I was saying earlier, on before we were picking up with the network interaction, the power that is becoming endemic in this particular area, the Tema area, and it's really affecting operations of the electricity company. Apart from power revenue losses, they are also unable to supply power to industries and households because people steal these powers, and technically it's also affecting their operation. We are fortunate to be joined by the public relations officer who will explain to us how the situation is and what they are doing to make sure that this notoriety is clamped down. Good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us on GBC News.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so can you tell us how dire is this particular situation, power theft in the Tema region?
Well, it is quite, um, it has been so for a number of years, for quite a long time. It's human nature. People usually think that they can always circumvent a situation because of making for themselves illegally. So it's a situation we've had to deal with. We as a company have had to deal with over the years, and every now and then we try to come up with campaigns and with monitoring to ensure that we'll be able to clamp down and bring it down to the barest minimum.
How is it affecting operation in terms of power supply to households and industries?
Okay, so let me use this general example. Anytime you have a transformer in a particular locality, we are able to determine the amount of power that that locality needs, and we provide them with a transformer that will be able to contain the power that they need. Now, when people tap power illegally, it means that the power that they are having is not part of the analysis we made based on which we put that transformer at one location. So they end up overloading these transformers, and sometimes you would hear of a transformer blasting. That's more like the popular word we take. So the illegal connection has this particular situation where our transformer got overloaded and it ends up going off. Now, when the transformer goes off or it gets bent, it means that customers who are paying for power legally are also going to suffer because once the transformer goes off, that particular neighborhood or area would have to go off until we are able to replace the transformer. That's why we encourage our public that anytime you know or that somebody is doing anything illegal, tapping power illegally, using power illegally, please inform PC so that we can take them on. Because whatever the person's power needs are, we need to be able to determine and add it to our network so that it wouldn't cause any fluctuations. There are times that it causes low voltage because, again, we did an analysis before we place an equipment in certain places. Now, if other people are tapping into it, it means that they are using power that we did not consider as part of our list. So we are aware that we are giving X amount of power to a certain neighborhood and it's enough for them. But then other people have tapped into that power source. So instead of having a certain level of power in the various homes, the power keeps going down, the price keeps dropping. So there's another instance. So again, we encourage and we plead that the customers, the general public should think of ECG. If you suspect anything or anyone who has connected to our grid illegally, please inform us.
Any technology you are deploying to make sure that we minimize this illegal tapping of power?
Yes. For instance, we are deploying our smart meters. We have the ability to monitor these meters in our office. But then there are instances where some of the customers move these meters. The ECG meters are not supposed to be moved, especially our residential meters. They are not supposed to be moved. All ECG equipment, including the meters, are not supposed to be matched by the customers or by the general public. So even in case where a meter needs to be moved, there has to be a commercial meter, and you have to inform ECG so that we will take care of it. The reason being that every meter has a certain location code, and we input that location code into our system. So with that information, anytime we are able to monitor the meters in real time. But there are instances where a meter is moved from point A to point B without notice to ECG. So in this instance, the person might have connected to a grid illegally, but ECG may not be aware of. There are some things that, for some reason or two, we are unable to pick up. We can't say we pick up all the meters when get connected illegally, but we do have that technology that enables us to monitor from our office. That's how come every now and then we do monitoring, where we go to the field and we monitor our meters to make sure that they are in good condition, they are working for, if not, some testing. And also we do community engagement to inform our customers and the general public that as much as possible they should not tamper with our movement.
We are most grateful for your time. Thank you so much for joining us. And so that's the situation we are having here. They are deploying the technology to make sure that all these things are curtailed. But millions of Ghana cedis is lost through power theft. And so if you see something, say something about it and notify the electricity company so that they are able to curb this situation. For GBC News, my name is Untitled Chapter, reporting from the Tema Regional Head Office of the Electricity Company of Ghana.
And thank you very much, Michael. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is encouraging the Ghanaian youth to be a key part of the digital revolution being undertaken by the government in the country. At a public lecture at the Ashesi University on Tuesday evening on the impact of digitization on the Ghanaian economy, Dr. Bawumia said digitization is a youth revolution which presents huge prospects for Ghana's youth in terms of job creation and also to enable them contribute more to the nation's development.
I am excited about the prospects of the nation we are building, the brilliant minds being nurtured who are contributing towards this vision. We must allow our mindset to build our courage that we can be amongst the best in the world at anything. Some of our senior high schools are winning world robotic competitions. Ashesi is also a world-class university established by a visionary Ghanaian. The digital revolution is a youth-driven revolution. It is your revolution. And I look forward to all of you playing a role in making our nation great and strong.
During pregnancy, women are exposed to some maternal health conditions and infections that have adverse effects on the mother and the unborn baby. Experts say pregnant women are particularly vulnerable to COVID-19 with increased risk of more severe illnesses and pregnancy complications if infected during the third trimester. It is also possible for the newborns to have COVID-19, and some babies have tested positive for the SARS-CoV-2 virus shortly after birth. Doctors have not been able to tell whether the babies got infected with the virus before, during, or after delivery. To date, research has not found the virus in the amniotic fluid to establish whether the woman has COVID-19. In the studio this afternoon is a member of the COVID-19 management team, Dr. Emmanuel Adipa-Dapo, to help us understand the dangers of COVID-19 and pregnancy. Hello, good afternoon, Doc.
Good afternoon. So cool.
And we thank you very much for coming to the studio to discuss this important issue with us. First, is there any data to show exactly how the COVID-19 affects the health of pregnant women, fetuses, or newborns?
No, there is no data to show that there is mother-to-child transmission. But so far, we have realized that the Delta strain, especially of the virus, has proved to be very, very fatal in pregnant women at all the stages of pregnancy. And so what we are doing is to keep them aware that this is possible, to as much as possible prevent them from getting infected during any stage of life, because those who became critical during the third wave, for instance, we lost a couple of them, and a few also recovered. But the data that is present now is that delivered or undelivered, the pregnant woman is very, very vulnerable to the COVID-19.
Are we still in the third wave, or we've transitioned to another wave?
No, for now, I'll say that the third wave has steadily calmed down. Situations in the hospitals as it used to be when the surge happened around July, August is down, but we're still recording a few pregnant women coming in as walk-in patients, and a few others also who are not pregnant are also coming. But the focus now is on the pregnant women, so that care will be taken that they do not get infected.
So now we have various vaccines available. Well,
Exactly.
the vaccines are available, and they need the people now to come and take the vaccine. So let me ask, pregnant women, is it safe for pregnant women to take the vaccines
Yes,
now?
there is enough data to show that the vaccine is safe for pregnant women. And the task force is also working assiduously to come out with the announcement for pregnant women to partake in the vaccination. In fact, the US and the UK, for instance, have proven beyond every doubt that the vaccine is safe in pregnant women, because a lot of them have already received it. And there are a few cases of pregnant women in the third trimester especially who volunteered to take the vaccine, and they've been safe. Some have even delivered safely. But a few who did not take the vaccine because we didn't have the data to support the safety in pregnancy. When they got the virus and they got infected, there was little we could do to save some of them, but some also came through successfully, even though they were critical at a point.
So that means that we've lost a number of pregnant women
Yes.
to COVID-19.
Yes, we have unfortunately lost a couple of pregnant women with COVID-19 with the pregnancy at every stage of the trimester.
That's a shame. Well, how can expectant mothers be helped to avoid severe maternal infection or preterm babies?
So what I will say is every pregnant woman is sort of in some kind of immunosuppression. It comes with the pregnancy, even though it is physiological. Therefore, and as the pregnancy advances, the uterus or the womb bulges forward and comes also puts some compromise on the respiratory muscles. So you see that as pregnancy advances, women will normally have some form of respiratory difficulty. That has its own issues. And COVID, being the lung being its main focus and causing some respiratory distress or causing severe pneumonia, that makes it pregnant women more at risk than non-pregnant women. So what we have to do now to prevent them from getting infected is please avoid the crowded areas. If it is not very, very important for you to go out, kindly stay at home and attend your antenatal clinics on time, so that we pick these things or pick these signs as early as possible. Because most of the people who come to our clinic at the COVID unit would have at a point attended an antenatal clinic, and then when you complain, your gynecologist will have a high sense of suspicion, and then he will refer you to us. And most of the time, the gynecologists have not been wrong. So please go for antenatal clinics routinely, so that we will be able to pick these things early enough. Otherwise, if you progress from the mild to moderate to severe stage, it is almost too late.
Talking about these antenatal clinics, you know how most of the time these clinics are, congested. You have a whole lot of pregnant women coming along. Have the various hospitals made changes to, let's say, seating arrangement, or how pregnant women are even attended to due to this pandemic? Yes,
most of the hospitals now have special clinics for pregnant women. They no longer mix with the normal clinic. There's an OPD for them. Okay. There is where the hospitals are tertiary, for instance, like the Greater Accra Regional Hospitals. They even belong to teams. So you come on the day your team is on duty, and you are attended to quickly so that you can go home. And the sitting arrangements have also been changed. Social distancing is always hammered at such antenatal clinics. And now every hospital area is a no mask, no entry zone. And once those things are adhered to, we're good to go. And most of the education that is given, especially at the pregnancy school, help a lot to also, conscientize the pregnant woman to avoid getting infected.
So what signs should a pregnant woman pick up for her to know that, look, I'm having this virus? Is it the same as those who are not pregnant also have?
Yeah, for me,
there are differences.
For me, as someone who has been trained to manage COVID, every problem is a nail for me. The symptoms that COVID will present are just like malaria. A few times you have the loss of the sense of smell and the loss of the sense of taste. But if you feel that you are having malaria-like symptoms these days, complain to your doctor. There's a high index of suspicion for COVID infection.
That is the pregnant woman?
That's the pregnant woman.
Okay.
And especially if you have malaria-like symptoms and a few days later you also begin to cough. Malaria seldom presents with cough. And therefore, if you begin to have some respiratory symptoms in addition to your malaria-like symptoms, it's time to report that particular symptom and let's pick it up from there. Because 99% of the time, you might be having the early stages of COVID-19.
So before we wrap up, do you have an advice for pregnant women?
The advice I have for pregnant women is the same as for the general public. Please, there is the mnemonic that we have coined right now that women avoid touching men in COVID-19. So the woman, the W stands for wash your hands, then the O stands for observe the social distancing, the M is mask up, then the A is avoid crowded places, and the N stands for never forget your hand sanitizer. Touching men doesn't mean that don't touch your husband or don't touch your boyfriend, but it means that avoid touching the places that are points of entry of the virus, which is the mouth, that's the M, the E is the eyes, and the N is the nose.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's finally wrap up. Can you give us the statistics at a stance today once you're a member of the management team?
Well, no, I will not be able to readily give you the statistics, but I can tell you that I have a 16-bed capacity, and as of now, I have only 2 patients severely ill. That means that on the surface, it has come down, but we are receiving more walk-in cases at this time. So it means that COVID is not really gone, it's still there. But kudos to the management team, kudos to the task force, kudos to the COVID-19 Management Trust Fund for their help in getting where we are today.
Thank you very much, Doc. And Dr. Emmanuel Adipa-Dapo is a member of the COVID-19 management team. And we've been talking about COVID and pregnant women and what they're supposed to do and everybody in general. Regulators from 65 countries are encouraging healthcare professionals, patients, caregivers, as well as families to report any side effects of vaccines, including those of the COVID-19 jabs. In this regard, the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, has launched a week-long social media campaign to sensitize the public to report suspected side effects of vaccines to the authority upon vaccination. The campaign comes at a time when millions of people are being vaccinated against COVID-19, according to the Chief Executive Officer of the FDA, Mrs. Delise Dakun. Campaign will provide accurate and up-to-date information to the public and healthcare professionals on how to report side effects and other safety issues to the FDA. Mrs. Dakun said vaccines are the best way to protect individuals against infectious diseases and had saved millions of lives. She explained that just like all medicines, vaccines could have side effects, adding that reporting suspected side effects will help the FDA identify new adverse reactions and gain more information on already known side effects. The authority is also urging healthcare professionals administering vaccines to discuss potential side effects with patients and encourage them to report any of those to help the FDA monitor the safe use of vaccines to protect public health through effective regulation. The week-long campaign, which ends on Sunday, November 7, 2021, marks the 6th annual MedSafety Week social media campaign focused on vaccines. The Narcotics Control Commission, NCC, has warned the public against the cultivation of narcotic plants or the establishment of a business related to narcotics on the basis of the passage of the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020, Act 1019. It said it had not granted license to any entity or individual to either establish or promote any business related to a narcotic drug or narcotic plant upon the passage of the said bill. It said until a related legislative instrument LI is approved by Parliament, no one could legitimately do business in narcotic plants or drugs in the country. We have joining via phone the head of communication of the Narcotics Control Commission, Mr. Francis Opoku-Amoah, to explain the issues arising. Good afternoon, Mr. Opoku-Amoah.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining News Hour. So can you tell us what does the law say about doing business in narcotic plants or drugs in the country?
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. I think right from the time we were using the PDC law 236, it was illegal for anybody to cultivate, to use, to trade in, to possess, or to do anything in relating to narcotic drugs, especially cannabis, any of the narcotic drugs. But what we know now, or what has changed, is that when the passage of the Narcotics Control Act 2020, Act 1019, was passed by Parliament last year, it gave a special provision in Section 43 that gives people the opportunity to apply for permits. And once that permit is granted, or once that permit is given, one can go ahead and only cultivate cannabis which has less than 0.3% THC content in it. And that is what has changed. And apart from that, if anybody should go ahead and do any business related to cannabis, whether you're selling it, you're cultivating it, or whatever you're doing in the name of cannabis, the new law in Section 38 and 42 says that if you do that, you are committing an offense and you can be put before court.
So you said the Commission says it has since the passage of Act 1019 observed an increased activity relating to the promotion of some narcotic drugs and plants in the country. What exactly are some of these items being advertised?
Yeah, what we see and what we know is that people have legitimately applied to get permission or to get license to enable them to cultivate the cannabis, especially the hemp, which is for industrial use and scientific purposes. What we've noticed is that though we've not granted people license, people keep calling us, especially our office, to say that they want to go and pay money to other groups, they want to pay money to be part of a group, or they want to do certain things in relating to cultivation of cannabis. And what we are seeing is that we have not given a person or a group of people any license that would allow them to go ahead and cultivate anything. So we are just entreating the public and just warning them to say that nobody has been given a license to go ahead and cultivate. And therefore, if you do anything, whether you make an advert, whether you make you promote a business relating to cultivation of cannabis, you're going against the law. And therefore, we are just warning people not to engage in that, because once you start doing it, then you're going against the Act 1019, and there are consequences to that.
Any punitive action against those who go contrary against this particular legislation or the law?
Can you say that again, please?
I was asking whether you have any punitive action against those who go against the legislation or the law.
No, the law is clear. When you look at the prohibited businesses and the punishment that go with it, when you read the section, the schedules talks about punishment. It says that if you go ahead and you cultivate and you're arrested, the penalty unit is 5,000 penalty unit, and also you can go into prison for not more than 15 months. So the law is very clear as to what kind of punishment one can be given once you're arrested for doing that thing.
And so are these actions punitive enough?
Is it?
Punitive enough?
Yes. So I think what we are doing, you look the which was more punitive when people were especially using drugs and engaging in drugs. It's criminal. But this new law, what it's saying is that somebody who is using drugs, the person is suffering from a disease, and that person is looked at, or his condition is looked at as a public health issue. And if you're dealing with that public health issue, there is a need to help the people so that you can rehabilitate them and socially reintegrate them rather than incarceration. So even in the law, it says that when somebody uses it and the person is arrested and put before court, the court at that moment has the right to say that instead of you going to jail, we will recommend you to go for rehabilitation and treatment. So there is a shift, even though it is still an illegal and it's still punishable. We're telling people that if you go in and you do that, you're arrested, that prerogative is with the judge to say that I will either put you before a rehabilitation center or put you before jail. So people shouldn't say that now the law is giving them the opportunity to be rehabilitated rather than put them before court, and therefore they will go ahead and engage in that practice. Once you're arrested, you'll be put before court, and the law will deal with you accordingly.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Opoku-Amoah, for the time. Mr. Francis Opoku-Amoah is the head of communication of the Narcotics Control Commission. Angolan investors have expressed their readiness to invest in businesses in the Volta region under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, AFCFTA. Some potential areas to be considered for investment in the region are the agriculture, fisheries, transportation and education sectors. The Angolan ambassador to Ghana, João Baptista Domingues, disclosed this in Ho at a meeting between a delegation from the Angolan Embassy and members of the Volta and Eastern Regions chapter of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI.
The discussions focused on business opportunities in Angola and Ghana and how investors from the two countries could mutually benefit from the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. The Angolan ambassador, João Baptista Domingos Quiosa, said the Volta region is endowed with natural resources and several business opportunities that must be harnessed to their full potential. He encouraged industries to focus more on manufacturing products for domestic use and for consumers in other African countries. He also urged Ghanaians to patronize made-in-Ghana products and goods from other parts of Africa to promote trade on the continent.
It's just a matter of linking ourselves and our peoples. We've found it so easy to go to London and buy clothes. Why can't we buy them from here in Ghana? It's so easy to say, oh, I remember when I went to Milan to buy shoes. I'm sure here in Ghana shoes are well produced.
The chairman of the Volta, Oti and Eastern Regions chapter of the AGI, Mr. Dela Gajanku, was hopeful the meeting would yield positive results.
The African Continental Free Trade Area has brought in a great opportunity for Africa to trade amongst ourselves. But let us assure you that in Volta region, we want to look inward in the African continent because we believe trading amongst ourselves is the best way to go.
The Angolan ambassador and his delegation later visited sites of some industries in the region.
Residents of Kango and Benkute in the Bolgatanga East district of the Upper East region are concerned about the delay over the construction of the satellite campus of the UCC College of Distance Education. They say the project is about 35% complete and are expecting it to be in full completion for use.
A spokesperson for the Kango community, Mr. Abubakar Atongo Salifu, was not happy when he conducted a GBC News team around the project site. He mentioned the importance of education and asked the University of Cape Coast to iron out their differences with the contractor and expedite action to complete the project.
We, the community, are giving the UCC up to December ending and possible first week of January. If we don't see the contractor back at site, we are forced to call on our customary secretariat to write and cancel that of the lease that is granted them. We are not happy because from our investigation, it is the fault of the University of Cape Coast who abrogated the contract. Because in the first place, they don't have a consultant. It is the school development office that is the consultant. The contractor was at site for almost 2 years because it was 28 months that was given to the contractor to complete the school.
For his part, Mr. Gado Akurugu of the Benkoti community said the sizable tracts of land used by the indigents to farm to earn their living was given out willingly for the UCC project. They are therefore disappointed that the project has stalled, while the farmers wallow in poverty since they no more have access to their lands. He noted that the extension of the university to Zwarungu and its surroundings will, apart from human resource development, have economic, social and other benefits and also help develop the area.
If not for the intervention of we the representatives, I don't think the farmers would have been quiet like this. And we are now out to let the university know that we are not happy. I stand here as a rep of the community. I also double as the Bolgatanga Coastal Land Secretariat, the coordinator, the regional coordinator. So I see it to be so insulting, so annoying to be in the community and then talking for other communities, and my own community is locked up because of this.
It came up that 4 security personnel engaged by UCC have not been paid for the past 14 months.
Still watching News Hour live on GBC News and GT. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with the business segment. Please stay on.
It is a nightmare dealing with the filth in Accra. The gutters are choked with garbage. The streets are a jumble of filth. The beauty of the serene beaches is marred with human feces and plastics as many defecate in the open. Residents are up in arms when the situation gets out of hand.
Because of these meetings, you can't even stand there for even a minute to speak here. If the mosquitoes even refuse to breathe on it.
partners in sanitation suggest alternative policy interventions.
Landfilling is not the way forward. We are recommending treatment facilities.
But in all of this, have we made gains in the sector?
How can you have a people who have a lot of dignity and still practicing identification?
The task facing Ghana to achieve SDG Goal 6 on clean water and sanitation for all is Herculean and riddled with equally complicated hurdles. Join us every Thursday on Wash Hour from 4:05 p.m. to 5 p.m. as we seek to put these issues and more in perspective. Watch a repeat on Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m. and on Sundays 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. It is our duty to keep our surroundings clean and free from disease.
Hello, it's time to do business. My name is Esther Edu Ohumeu. The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research is hopeful Ghana's economy will grow 5% and even more as projected. This optimism stems from a 3.1% and 3.9% GDP growth in the first and second quarters of 2021. ISA wants government to tackle the country's rising debt levels and does not expect the introduction of new taxes.
The Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research has been sharing snippets of its flagship State of the Economy report. This latest edition focused on the 2020 Ghanaian economy and Q3 updates of the 2021 economy. Ghana's economy grew 0.4%, 5 percentage points short of the revised target of 0.9%. This was after the economy grew 6.5% in 2019. The sharp decline is largely attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic, its associated restrictions that curtailed the consumption of crude oil. The price of a barrel of oil went down as low as $39.1 a barrel as against $62.6 as budgeted. Budget deficit ballooned from 5.8% of GDP in 2019 to 13.8% of GDP in 2020. Despite the slump, the Ghanaian economy is now showing signs of recovery with a growth rate of 3.9% in the third quarter of 2021.
Oh yeah, 5% is possible because if you look at even quarter two, we grew by 5.6%. That is non-oil. And with oil inclusive, it was 3.9. And normally the third and last quarters, you see higher growth numbers. So I expect at least an average of 5%.
In the worst case scenario, ISE expects the replacement of some old taxes in the 2022 budget and not the introduction of new ones.
Sanitation levy, for instance, is not bringing in much. So a review of these taxes to see whether they are being efficient or we are rather spending more money collecting this little revenue. You scrap them and replace them with something that will bring in more revenue.
Moving forward, ISE expects the diversification of the Ghanaian economy with emphasis on manufacturing as a way of raking in more revenue to reduce the country's debt burden.
The UNDP economic advisor in charge of Ghana has warned that a total shift onto the fourth industrial revolution driven by technology will result in what he terms jobless growth. While commending Ghana for a digitized economy, Mr. Udo Ekutudu wants much attention to be paid to agro-industries, the nexus between agriculture and manufacturing.
There are gainers right now as far as the fourth industrial revolution is concerned. It's very useful because it helps modernize the country. But if the country wants to remain on a sustainable path of growth, if the country wants to leave no one behind in its development efforts, if we are to have a situation of prosperity, then we need to focus. And the focus is on young people. History has taught us that in the modern age, industrialization and manufacturing are the two key areas in
The Kumasi branch of Sand and Stone GPRTU and Protoa Tipper Truck Association has outdoored a new Hyundai wheel loader valued at about $72,000. The earth-moving equipment is expected to help improve upon the service delivery of its members in order to rake in more revenue.
The Sand and Stone GPRTU and Protoa Tipper Truck Association has acquired a new Hyundai HL660L wheel loader for use by its members and the general public, particularly in the area of sand and stone winning. The state-of-the-art earth-moving equipment is designed for maximum performance to keep the operator working productively. It is fuel efficient and has an energy-saving turbocharged engine built for maximum power and reliability. At a ceremony to officially outdoor the wheel loader in Kumasi, the branch chairman of the association, Mr. Peter Kwame Donko, said the wheel loader is one of the association's initiatives to help solve some challenges members go through in acquiring a wheel loader for both sand and stone winning.
This machine is going to improve our financial position. It's not meant for one person, but a group of people. Our intention is to get more money so that we can serve our members, the sand winners. They are going to use the machine on a hiring basis. But the system is going to be different from the general public. The way and manner the other people are using it, we are not going to use it because it's for the members. Any other person, whether it's a company, individual, contractors, whoever wants to use it, is there for hiring, not particularly for private purpose, but any person who is ready to use it, whether go and clear your sites, to clear your land, to use it for excavating, or any type of job that you want the machine to do. Our office is at Airport Runabout. When you come there, you just book it out. The secretary will call us and then we see how best we can sort it out.
National Chairman of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, Nana Nimako Bresiama, entreated members of the Sand and Stone, GPRTU and Protoa Tipper Truck Association to properly maintain the equipment to ensure its lifespan, taking into consideration the amount mobilized in purchasing it.
It's time for the international news. South African presidents have agreed to work closely to establish a national dialogue forum to resolve the intensifying protests. In sports, top female ping pong star Eva Adumamankwa of the Ghana Armed Forces is the winner of this year's Homework Challenge Cup. She beat rival Cynthia Kwabi by 3 sets to 0.
The Ghana Table Tennis Association's flagship event, the Homework Challenge Championship, that Kwanlogo spins and smashes, had 47 of the country's finest lady ping-pong players battling for honors. The last time this competition was held was in 2013. The one-day knockout competition was keen, with all participants giving off their best. One of the semi-final matches that was rated higher by pundits was the game between Cynthia Kwabi and Bernice Borkwei. Cynthia took a 2-set lead in the best of 5 sets, but Bernice found her rhythm and leveled the score at 2-2. Fatigue set in for Bernice and lost the final set. Eva also played Matilda Fudu in the other semi-final. Eva recorded a 3-1 win. The final was a clash between two rivals, Eva and Cynthia. The two also clashed in the Stanbic Bank Cowbell National Championship 2 weeks ago, where Cynthia won by 3-1. It was therefore a repeat or a revenge on the minds of the two players. Eva was calmed and forced Cynthia, who looked tired after her energy-sapping semi-final, to commit lots of errors. She beat Kwabi by 3-0. 8 years ago, Eva won the title and thus defended it gallantly. The finalists were all presented with cash prizes. Eva Adom Amankwa was decorated with a trophy. She said her aim is to be the #1 by 2022.
Really, this tournament has been something overwhelming. I'm so grateful for all my fans who supported me to win the trophy from my previous one. And they see me to be the best among them. And successfully, I'm able to accomplish what God has done. I'm so grateful.
Despite finishing 4th, Bernice Borkwei says she will put in more effort to get back to her peak.
It was very fun and nice, but me, I can see that if I train hard, I can be the top. Between me and Cynthia, the #1, I said, I saw the thing that I won, but unfortunately, and the thing, yes, next time I'll be the #1, definitely.
Officials from the Ghana Table Tennis Association say the Omowo Challenge Cup has come to stay.
The 2021-2022 Women's Premier League is scheduled to kick off on the weekend of Friday, December 17 to 20, 2021 across the country. This follows the approval for the calendar of the season by the Executive Council of the association.
By the decision of the Executive Council and the GFA Congress, this season's top-tier women's competition has increased the number of participating clubs from 16 to 20 teams. The expansion will give players of the elite women's football competition the opportunities to stay active and play more games during the season. Newly promoted sides, Faith Ladies and Army Ladies, will join the other 8 premier clubs to compete in the Southern Zone, whilst FC Savannah and Dreams Ladies compete in the Northern Zone for the first time alongside the 8 Premier League clubs of the zone. The first round of the league will end on Sunday, February 20, 2022, while the second round commences on the weekend of March 4 to 6, 2022. The league final match is scheduled to take place on Sunday, May 29, 2022.
Why don't you, Dolly? Well, that's all we have by way of news for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back at 7 with a full news package. Until then, enjoy the rest of our programs and do have a good afternoon.